Hi Aries, this is your general tarot reading for Aries Sun, Moon and Ascendant or Rising sign for the month of September. Aries, where are the months going? It's September already. Anyway, let's do as we always do here. We'll shuffle the cards and wait on all the right ones to come out for you, my love. And in the meantime, let's talk about the energies that you may feel throughout the month. So, we leave August and enter September under the beautiful, magical, dreamy, mystical energy of the Pisces full moon happening for you, my love, in the 12th house. And what that might feel like is like this great big wave of emotion, a wave of psychic energy just rolling in on your shore. Yeah. And it's a moment, oh look, your first card, the Aries card. I like that. The moment here with the 12th house, it could bring up some hidden things because 12th house is hidden treasures. This is interesting. This is a Venus and Scorpio card, and Venus does go into Scorpio on the 9th of September, so I'm going to lay that down there. We'll talk about it, Aries. This wave of psychic emotion might bring up with it some hidden treasures from the 12th house. And what might those treasures be? They might be gems, jewels, crystals. And what are you supposed to do with these gems, jewels and crystals? Well, you could make a nice pair of earrings out of them. Or really what you could do is hold them up to the moonlight and see through their clarity and see the truth. See through the illusion. Yeah. Because that's the whole vibe. Being introspective, going deep within yourself, taking quiet time and seeing the truth. So what is truth? Is truth, well, he said this and then I said this and then they said this. A card that could be very representative of truth coming out there. It's not all about the he said, she said and they said and then I said and I was right. It's not that. Truth. I mean, there is no truth without love, without compassion, without kindness, without understanding. And this is what's happening for you, my love, through the whole month. You are beginning to walk in other people's shoes, seeing where they're coming from, seeing it from a totally new perspective, because that is the truth. There is no truth when you just say, well, this is what I feel, and that's how I see it. It's not true because you're only looking at one side of the story. Truth is when you're able to take in all sides of the story and understand why people behave certain ways, why some people may do unusual things or things that you may have once deemed unforgivable. Every time you hear somebody's name, you go, don't talk to me about them. I never want to hear their name. They are unforgivable. You know? Now you do understand this month. And while you may not want that person or situation back in your life, while you may not want to repeat history, while you may have definitely closed a door on something, some people, some situations, some history, what you certainly can do is forgive it. And if there is a moment here too, Aries, the energy is also about recognizing where you need to apologize. If for some of you there is a moment where you have fallen out with somebody, it's a great time this month to go in and say, look, I'm not just going to go in and say, well, this is what I think and this is what I think and this is the truth because I've determined that this is the truth. Make a space, call them up, meet them and listen. Pisces, Moon, 12th house. I mean, if that's not the energy of sitting down and listening, really listening in a view to understand, then nothing is, you know. So if there has been a falling out, or if there has been a problem with somebody, make that space, if you can, to hear both sides of the story and to see where you can repair and fix a situation perhaps that may have gotten out of hand. Because with the sun in the 6th house, Mercury on the 6th of September going into the 6th house. September 9th, new moon in the 6th house. This is all about repairing and healing. Yeah. So it's a great time for that. And it's also with the 6th house, it's a moment where you get to understand why people have taken a stance against you, or understand why people may have just turned off you or turned against you for some reason. Because what you see here is cause and effect. Where there's an action, there's a reaction. And also, don't forget, where there's a problem, there is a solution. And that's the energy here. Letting go of old hurts and old pains, because you now understand them, because the 12th house is giving you the clarity. It's also giving you a lot of dreams, signs, omens. Maybe you switch on the radio and you hear a song that reminds you of a person, and it seems every station that you put on, they're playing that song, or you keep hearing it, or you keep hearing a word or a phrase that reminds you. It keeps recall, memory recall. It's the universe trying to bring stuff to the front of your mind so you can fix them. Sometimes people do that too. Let's not forget that sometimes the universe might send a person into your life to call you out on where you may not have been truthful. But all again, it can be fixed, it can be repaired. It's just that wonderful gift, really, this month of these gems, jewels and crystals, to see maybe where you haven't been completely living your truth. And what is truth? Again, I said, it's anything done with a sense of love, kindness, honesty, openness and compassion and understanding. If there are areas in your life that you kept buried, kept hidden, and then somebody brought them up to the surface and you're like, why did you do that? I was trying to ignore that. I was trying to keep that. That was my secret. That was for me to hold on to. You'd no business exposing that. But maybe they had. Maybe the universe knew that you were never going to deal with a certain situation on your own, maybe because it was too painful, that it gave you a little bit of a kickstart. But really, it's just that wonderful time, Aries, where you get to finally let go and surrender, let go. Because if you resist this kind of energy, sometimes it can get very tricky and gnarly. It can get people, say from the 6th house, who may come out of the shadows, who may come out of the woodwork and point at you and say, you're not true, you're not this, you're telling me that you're this and yet your behavior is something else. Your words and no action. And you might be saying, whoa, where did these people come from? What gives them the permission to suddenly point out things in my life? Well, sometimes when we're not in the flow, that's how these things get played out. And the more out of flow you are, the more heavy it gets, okay? So it's a good moment here too, under that beautiful energy of the Pisces full moon, to get back into the flow, baby. Flow. Yeah. For those of you who really do need a bit of healing, maybe with some issue, this is a good time to seek professional medical advice. If it's something that doesn't need, I don't know how you determine that, but if it's something that doesn't need a kind of medical intervention, it could be that you see, you know, those great apps, because 6th house is about organizing. You've seen the reason why you're so unfit, for example. You see the cause and effect. Well, the reason why I'm unfit is because I don't do any freaking exercise. So then you find these apps, which are a great organizational tool. All this month is all about organization and finding the right tools. And these apps, you know, they can count how many steps you've done in the day, or they can count if you're quitting smoking or counting alcohol units or something like that. Then there's great apps, there's great tools to help you improve your health, which you'll be focused on too. And also, systems. 6th house is to do with your work, so I'm going to focus on this. A lot of you could be getting a new job around the 9th of September if you've been waiting on that, if you've been sending your resume off and you've been hearing nothing back. September 9th is a great moment to new doors open in your job front. But particularly whatever work you are doing, even if it's just creative work or within your career, this is the real time to find the right tools and instruments to make that happen. Really, to make it happen. If you're doing something creative, photography, writing, something like that, very 12th house stuff, then get the right camera. Or if you need quiet time, that you're creating something and you need solitude, well, organize it, that you've such a space to allow that to happen. It's about getting serious too. Getting serious about what you're focused on. 6th house being discernment, where you're putting your energy. Have you been putting it on all the wrong things, wrong people, distractions, things that just are a waste of time, not using your time effectively? Well, this month it's boom, all focus. You need to get it together, and you are doing it. And it's not just a case of me saying, Aries, you need to get it together. I'm not going to have to tell you this. You're going to feel it. You're going to, at some point in September, go, I don't have all the right information. I don't have all the right tools. I don't have all the right people, the right connections that I'd need. There's something missing from me just being able to focus and move forward. And I need to fix that, yeah. Fixing and repairing. Fixing and repairing, yeah. If there is anything that needs fixing and repairing, it's a good time to do it this month too. So let's talk about two other big things that are happening. Saturn and Pluto, who are in your career house, are now going direct. And they're going to remind you of something during this quiet time. They're going to say, baby, look at you. Look at you. Look how far you've come. You may not have realized this, Aries, but you've been set a bunch of tasks that maybe a year ago or 2 years ago would have just knocked you flat to the ground. You wouldn't have survived them. But over the last year, particularly since April, every time you get knocked down, you're like Rocky. You just get back up. And even when other people are around you saying, oh my God, Aries, please just throw in the towel. It's too much. It's too much. There's something now like an iron rod inside you saying, no, I'm getting back up. I'm used to this now. I'm over the worst of it. They've knocked me down so much that now I'm just automatically like Rocky, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to take responsibility for my life. I'm going to move forward with my career. And I am going to do it now with a sense of truth. Do it now with a sense of understanding, with love and kindness, and with a sense of focus. They can't knock you down anymore. Now, especially that you're going to be super organized, it's going to be even 10 times harder for anybody to knock you back. But sometimes we have to learn these lessons the hard way. You know what it is? You know how it is, Aries? Yeah, some lessons have been learned here. But this is the month where you learn how lessons don't have to be learned the hard way. Look at this, gorgeous. 2 more cards, Aries. But again, I'm just going back to that. I'll go to the 9th of September where Venus is in Scorpio. This is a wonderful thing. There is certainly something you're doing. You're creating something, you're doing something, Aries, that is a little bit perhaps unusual, that you want to make a bit of money from. And there's a moment where you're saying, it's so unusual that it needs a specific kind of buyer, or it needs a specific type of person who will like what I'm doing, or who gets what I'm doing. And it seems that you find that you're getting some great ideas, you're making some great connections, your communication is bam, 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 bam this month. Money and career, it's on the up. On the up, baby, really. If you're selling something, maybe selling an old phone or an old computer or an old car or something like that, it could be a good month to see a little bit of extra money coming in there. But the 9th of September, Venus in Scorpio, getting pleasure from this deep transformation that's happening for you. Maybe with your money, maybe with your career. You're taking intense pleasure from this. You're also getting intense pleasure from seeing a side business, money coming from something. Like I said, maybe you're just selling something that you no longer need and you get a bunch of money from that. You could win money. But I feel it more as like a side business or something that you're creating that could bring in money. And I think 9th of September is where the energy really goes in there now. Venus in Scorpio, you might become very highly attractive to a lot of people. A lot of people might be very magnetized to you this month, Aries, because you'll have that certain, that certain it quality about you that people just want. That's your last card. Now, before I move down, I'll just finish that. Venus in Scorpio, the magnetism, people being very drawn and magnetized to you. You could find love with a Scorpio for those looking for love, or you could be very magnetized to a Scorpio. And I'll go back and say, because this month is about forgiveness, love, understanding, if you have a Scorpio in your life, a friend, a family member, maybe do you need to apologize to them? Do you need to get closer to them? Because it seems, maybe with the energy there, it's like they're a good friend. 7th, is it the Venus there? They're a good friend to have. And if you've fallen out with them or disconnected with them in some way, maybe that's worth, maybe they're the first people to go back and make amends with, okay? Now, let's do it. Let's read these cards. So hopefully, you are seeing the grand overview, Aries. Now, Aries, your empire, your world, this might seem like a contradiction, but because a lot of the old stuff, the old way of doing things for you now is dissolving and is leaving, you actually gain more power. Now, the first reaction is, oh my God, I can no longer do things that way. I can no longer behave that way. I can no longer be with those people. I can no longer be involved in this situation. Surely that means it's game over. Surely that means I'm losing power. No. We lose the things that we need losing at the very right time. And this is the right time. Maybe there are people that need to be lost. Maybe, I don't sense that it's people that you need to lose, but maybe attitudes or hang-ups or hurts that need to be let go of. And once you do that, you're back up on top. So it's the trickiness of being, the more you lose, the more you expose, the more vulnerable you are, the more open and emotional you are, the more loving and forgiving and kind you are, the more powerful you are. And look, again, Venus in Scorpio in your 8th house. This is the Venus in Scorpio card. Suddenly being shown the way. Aries is being shown the way, that there are greater truths as he looks up to the sky, as he looks up to the magic of the Pisces Moon in the 12th house. He's suddenly finding treasures. Yeah, you are. And you're taking each of those treasures and turning them into a reality. So these great ideas that you have now this month, Aries, pluck them out from the ether and make them real and rock solid. This builds your empire. The old shit is gone. The old way of doing things is gone. Now your new empire requires new ideas that come from the ether. And the possibilities are now endless for you. Endless. Endless. But because this is Venus in Scorpio, I'm going to go back again to the Scorpio thing. If build bridges with a Scorpio, perhaps. because power will come. When you do, you'll realize what a treasure they are in your life. If it's not a Scorpio, it could be a very magnetic person, somebody with a lot of power, somebody with a lot of influence, somebody who they really know what they're doing. And maybe there was a clash sometimes with Aries and Scorpio. There can be a clash there because of all of that hot energy. There can be clashes, but if there's a hot magnetic person that you've clashed with, go back and see them in a new light. See the treasures that they've brought to your life and make amends. Make amends, you know. Look, we had Aries, now we have Taurus and Cancer, who may be featuring in your life too. Maybe you have to make amends with a Taurus or a Cancer, some family members perhaps, and to allow a space of forgiveness to open up there. Now what I love here too, this card, the Hierophant is, sorry about that Aries, I just had to go to check. I don't know if you heard that noise, but something fell out there. It wasn't important anyway, I just had to see what it was. Anyway, so this is the card of the Hierophant, and what he does is he takes very deep wisdom and he puts structure on it. Exactly the energy that you'll be doing this month, my love. Taking the stuff that the great ideas that you pull from this full moon and building upon them. Practical, making them practical in your life. Because it's some of these great ideas that you find are now your new tools and instruments to move forward in your future. So structure is very important. And beside that is the card, look, this is Aries, Mars, sitting in the Chariot and moving with a great sense of success. Moving forward, moving fast. Now Mars is on September 11th going into Aquarius, into your 11th house. So what you might find is that you're shooting for the stars, baby. Hope is returned. Your vision of where you're going, now that you're more organized, now that you've the new instruments, now that you've the new insights, hope returns and you know where you're going and you're going with it. And here we are again, more energy of going with it. Fire upon fire. This is the card of being re-inspired. Something, you'd lost your inspiration, Aries, in whatever it is that you're doing. You had great starts, but because you had been tested by Saturn and Pluto, you kind of crumbled a little bit. Even though you were like Rocky and got back up every time you were knocked down, there's still that energy of you feeling that, this, even for me, this has been too much. And you lost your mojo a little bit, but now you get it back. You get it back. And look, it's beside the King of Pentacles, the one who has all the money, the one who has all the status, the one who really understands his purpose in life. And what I'd say here is that maybe you might recognize that you've been running the wrong direction. He is running away from being the master in his own life. He's running away from his soul purpose. He's running away from the things that he needs to do to make his life come alive. And now he gets to turn that around this month and run towards it. Because certainly, Aries, don't turn your back and run the other direction and get all distracted by things that are no longer necessary in your life. Just focus, focus, focus. And when you do, you've got the money. The big money could be really opening up for you. Again, I'm going back to the energy of a very strong person. This is you. You're becoming strong. And if you have clashed, look at the top row there. You've got the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Chariot. You've a Knight of Wands there on the second row, and then you've got a King. These are powerful figures. It's saying, don't, in all the things that you're surrendering and losing this month, don't lose ties with people who inspire you to be more powerful. Even if you've clashed with somebody, but maybe it's time to recognize that there's great power in saying sorry and apologizing and allowing them to say sorry too, and get back in a position of power. Otherwise, the sixth house, as I said, can turn nasty, where people throw shade and become enemies and make a balancing decision, and they decide that you're not good. No, it's again, get back into your power, get focused, heal, repair, and move on. And look, when you do, Aries, look at this. There are two people coming together with a cup of healing, a cup of love, a cup of truth and honesty. And when they're brought together, that's when everything positive kicks off in your life. Forgiveness is certainly the big theme this month. But it's also here, this card can sometimes be a soulmate energy. I think there's an element here too, Aries, and I'm going to say this. I don't think you realize how many people really love you in your life. I think that you've been so focused on getting your career together. You've been so focused on picking yourself up like Rocky from the floor. It's like you were being bent out of shape, and you were. Pluto in the 10th houses. You were being hammered. Come on, Aries. You got all out of shape. We have to get you back in shape. We have to get your life back on track. And now it seems that you suddenly reconnect with your soul purpose and reconnect with people who really love you. Now, for some of you, this is a soulmate energy. Some of you could be meeting a soulmate, and possibly an earth sign, because you have the King of Pentacles, soulmate card, and then the Knight of Pentacles beside it. You've got Taurus, you've got Capricorn, and you've got Virgo. Well, this is Virgo season, so it's that energy of finding your own soul firstly within Virgo season, within all this wonderful earth energy that's also happening this month, lots going on. But also recognizing that, I don't know, that there are solid things in your life now that you have to give your love and attention to. Solid people who are there for you. People who want to like you, want to be there for you, who want to support you. Give some love and attention to them. But certainly for some of you it is a soulmate time. Possibly around the 9th of September you could meet somebody very exciting, very interesting, who is magnetized by you. And like I said, they could be a Capricorn, Taurus or Virgo. Now, I'll also say this is the energy of you now being so focused and you're moving ahead. You're making small changes this month, Aries, that ultimately create a big change in your life. You recognize too this month that it's the detail. The devil is in the detail. If you pay attention to the small things, then the bigger picture will start looking beautiful. Oh gosh, I can't think of his name now. The famous artist. He was a pointillist. Is that what it's called? It's the art of small dots. Do you ever see that artwork where it's a series of tiny, tiny, tiny dots? And when you look up close, it's just a bunch of small, small, tiny details, dots. But when it's held back and you look at it from a distance, it creates a big, beautiful picture. That's what you will be understanding this month. It's the small things done with precision that create a beautiful, long-lasting and enduring picture. Now, Aries, we're going back here. Saturn, this is a very Saturnian influenced card, and so is this actually. Saturn has said, look, I'm turning direct this month. I know it's been hard. I've been really working on you. I've been doing my best to get you back into living a very authentic version of you, standing up for yourself, having that iron backbone, living your life and not being like a feather in the wind in your life, which Neptune and Pisces there can often do to Aries. It can make you feel like you're just floating. And Saturn is saying, no, I'm not letting them have all that. While you're floating, I'm building an iron backbone in you. And here he's saying, look, I'm turning direct this month. We've gone back. We've recognized where the hurts are. This is the month to turn this over and to get rid of all those unforgivable things in your life, to let them go, to finally let them go. Yeah, to let them go. And when you do, the world changes for you, my love. This is the card of realize. This is actually, particularly for this month, the card of recognizing, again, the thing I said, cause and effect, action, reaction, problem, solution. There's a kind of moment here that you realize that there's a almost mathematical quality to how this universe works, that everything moves like clockwork, that if you behave a certain way, you're going to expect a certain reaction. And in knowing that and in realizing that, you break through. This card is a huge breakthrough for you, Aries, where you get to let go of all those unforgivable things that really deeply hurt you, people who hurt you, situations maybe from long ago that hurt you. You get to let go of them, and you step out brand new into your new world, realizing that you can make an effect on your own world, that the things you do have an effect on your life, that it's not all a game of throwing the dice, that you have some level of control over this. And that's where you get it. That's where you go, yeah, I know what I'm doing now. I know what I'm doing. This is the card of winning too. If some of you are really taking a chance with something, a sport, entering into something where there's a win-lose situation, you win. You win under the influence of this energy. Yeah. Winning the game. Playing the game, but winning the game, and not winning because you've cheated. I'm not saying you're a cheater, Aries. I'm not saying that. But not taking shortcuts. There's never a need to take shortcuts when you know the direct path. Remember that, Aries. When you have a clear and direct path, there's no need for shortcuts. And the clear and direct path brings you to the win. Now, a card of Mercury in Cancer, communicating things very, very deeply at the end of the month. Communicating love, perhaps. Some of you could be, I don't know, celebrating something. This is often the card of celebration. Well, if you've won something, or if you feel like you've come through breaking a behavioural pattern too, maybe with your health, maybe you've quit something or started a new exercise regime or something, you've broken an old cycle, and maybe you're celebrating that, marking the end of something, celebrating something in some way. So that's a very nice thing, celebrating and perhaps meeting new love at this celebration. At the end of the month, the sun goes into Libra. So Libra, it could be their birthday, you could be celebrating with them, and it could be very pleasurable, very, very pleasurable for you. Now, sometimes this, I'll go with two things. Sometimes this card represents, again, having very deep, honest, heart-to-heart communication. And this card is often about seeing the differences, seeing where things are separated out, taking all the pieces apart. So at the end of the month, I think there is a real heart-to-heart conversation that you're having with somebody, a long-needed conversation where you put everything out on the table and get to fix it once and for all, and to become united again. Yeah. And maybe celebrate because you're all in love with each other again, or you're all friends again, or whatever it is. I will say, though, with this card, sometimes this card can represent somebody who's cheering you on to your face, but not necessarily when you're gone. You know, a fair weather person. You'll get to see who that is, but I think by the end of the month you won't be so bothered by that, because again you'll have figured out the people who love you. You'll have figured out the things that matter in your life. You'll just have figured so much out that when you do kind of spot somebody behaving badly, there's a kind, instead of getting angry, there's a kind of, look at the way they're behaving. They think I don't notice it. They think I don't see it. Just shame on you, but I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to play this game, because at the end of the month, baby, I've learned how to play this game and win. Yeah, playing the game and winning is very often about not being roped into other people's drama, not being suckered in. Not, if somebody provokes you, not always responding to them in the way that they would like you to, kind of to make you look like a fool, perhaps. Just being able to step back and say, I see what you're doing, but I know how this game is played and I'm not playing it, because I have figured out the puzzle and I bring love now into my life, and it's only all about love as I reach forward into my wonderful success. And did I mention, I can't remember if I mentioned this, September 11th, Mars in Aquarius in the 11th house. I probably mentioned it, sorry. But this is again, September 11th is all about you pushing forward. And pushing forward to where? 25th of September, full moon in Aries, where you get to start again. Full moon in Aries, when you've healed, repaired, forgiven, forgotten, fixed the mess, organized yourself in such an absolute, precise and wonderful way, where your work is better, your career is better, your money is just on the up, then you are back in Aries zone, where your wants, needs and desires are now met. Aries, I love that. I love it. I wish you every best of luck with this month as you heal, repair, forgive, forget and let it go. And I'm going to leave it at that, Aries. I'll just say this, if this is the first time seeing my videos, then please subscribe and join me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, She Bear Tarot. You can join us there, nice community going on there. And in the meantime, don't forget to come back next month as well, because it unfolds. And as always, Aries, I'm going to leave you with a big kiss, mwah, and all my love. Until next month, my gorgeous.